I was asleep. My wife had just got into bed, and next thing I heard is my wife shouting, Hughie Hendry's at our door.
This is Hughie Hendry who
That's correct, yes.
The
With that, I've shot out of bed. I've instantly woke up. I was obviously sleeping with no clothes on. I've put my box shorts on, and I've had to run downstairs. I couldn't get out my door because the barrel of our door is broken. It's a job I've never got around to fixing. So, as a temporary measure, I put a chisel underneath the bed and I wedged it up with an hammer. And I've had to move the hammer to run downstairs. When I've opened the front door, I've shouted, Hughie. As I'm running downstairs, I've no idea where he is. I'm thinking he's trying to get into our house. I opened the front door. I've shouted, Hughie. He's just walking out of our garden at the time. He's turned around and he says, I haven't been in your garden. And then he basically says, he swore at me and then says, before I stab you. I don't know what happened then. I just basically run towards him, grabbed hold of him, and I'd gone to punch him, looking at his hands all the time, thinking there's a knife in his pocket because obviously he's threatened to stab me.
Yeah.
But then I'm conscious that I can't punch him because there's something heavy in my hand, and then I've noticed it's an hammer. The hammer doesn't work. The head falls off all the time. That's why it's upstairs. And so basically I flicked the hammer head off, and then I've basically wrestled him to the floor, and all the time he's shouting, you're dead, Sinclair. And then I basically hit him until he stopped.
Not with the...
No. In court, it was proved that there was no blood on the hammer head, there was no blood on the hammer shaft, and the police accepted that hammer was never used as a weapon at any time.
And the law says at the moment that you are allowed to use reasonable force. And we should say that while this was happening and you were in the garden, your daughter had come downstairs, he's still threatening you and your family. It was 20 punches, I think, that they said that was thrown. He had previous, which you knew about, because I think a lot of people watching this were going, hang on, how did you know the burglar's name? He was notorious.
42 convictions, 79 offences, 2 offences against property, 32 theft and kindred offences, 2 public order offences, drug offences, firearms offences. You're witnessing all of this. It's terrifying, calling the police. The police arrive. What happens when the police arrive?
They basically came in and took Carl away, really, took him outside and just said, find out what's happened, and that was that. I really didn't know what's happened.
And then they said that we were going to have to arrest you.
Yeah.
And you'd called the police and you'd called an ambulance as well. And his injuries, he had marks on his head, but he was awake enough to be shouting and causing a fuss in the back of the ambulance, saying that they should arrest you.
Yes. I think he got 3 stitches on his eyes, it's something, or his head, I can't remember now, but again, nothing to do. If he was being hit with an hammer or an hammer shaft, it'd be far worse than what he had.
Do you think, if he needed stitches in his eye, do you think that those 20 blows that you rained down on him, was that reasonable, do you think?
It was definitely reasonable because, again, while he's shouting threats at me, then the threat is still there. And so I've hit him just enough times so he stopped shouting and stopped moving. Once he stopped moving and shouting, then the threat had gone.
Yeah.
And the CCTV evidence clearly shows me then walk away. And that was actually mentioned in court. Why did I walk away so calmly after I'd done that? Because the threat had been... There was no threat no more.
So you were arrested, you were taken away, you were put into a cell for 19 hours while they waited to see the extent of his injuries so that they could know what to charge you with. You were charged with wounding with intent, facing, if found guilty, up to 3 to 5 years, which is more than he has ever got.
Well, that's 3 to 5 years is the minimum. It does carry a life sentence as the section 18 that was charged with. Again, when I went to the magistrates' court, that was then dropped to a section 47, and then the next court appearance had been reinstated again back to an 18, so I didn't know where we were.
Should it ever have got to court?
Honestly, God, I don't believe it should have done. No, it's somebody. I don't know who's in charge of CPS. I don't know what they're trying to look for, but it's knowing it's going to go to a jury and knowing that the jury would have seen his record and seen what he's like and seen it. You know, jury are people like me and you, and they're not going to... There's no way they're going to convict.
Well, I mean, you went for a cup of tea whilst they were deliberating, and you only just got the cup of tea by the time they came back in and you were found not guilty.
That's correct, yeah, that's correct.
So the CPS said the function of the Crown Prosecution Service is not to decide whether a person is guilty of a criminal offence, but to make fair, independent and objective assessments about whether it's appropriate to present charges for a jury to consider. We acknowledge and respect the decision the jury has reached, but you say you should not have got that.
Well, again, you just read out early, Holly, saying that what you are allowed to do, and what you're allowed to do is exactly what I did. So it's you can't be the CPS state that you at the heat of the moment to protect yourself. You don't have to, you know, draw it all out and plan it. Well, you don't plan it. I didn't plan anything. I just basically acted on instinct. So there was no time for... If I was planning anything, I wouldn't have run the street with no clothes on, basically, would I?
So what happens to you now? How do you move on from something like this? Because he, I think he got 8 weeks, didn't he, for what he did? They couldn't prove it was burglary, so it was tampering with
well, that's the thing.
Vehicle.
That's the thing what annoys me, because he did 8 weeks in jail for... Well, he was sentenced to 8 weeks in jail for attempted vehicle interference. The prosecutor quite clearly said in court, because he thought it was me, he seen me pushing... Well, he tried the front door because you was alerted by the front door, but the CCTV shows him pushing the back gates, trying to get in through our carport, which is, to me, that's attempted burglary.
Do you... I mean, how safe do you feel at home now?
Well, we spent a fortune. Basically, we spent a fortune, haven't we? We're fully CCTV'd. We've got French bulldogs, not French bulldogs. We've got a French bulldog, but we've got French mastiffs as well. You know, Turner hooch dogs. We've got them in the garden. We are quite secure, but it's still frightening. It is. I've never slept properly since our first burglary. We got burgled about 5 years ago now, wasn't it? Since that first burglary, we never really slept at all.